All right, and in Hollywood's final effort to take down Donald Trump in this election, The Daily Show is bringing back Jon Stewart as a part-time host and executive producer through the election cycle. Wow, where do we start? Lee, I'll start with you. Let's start with the Van Jones commentary. Stay in the basement, Joe Biden. You're not inspiring anyone.
I agree in many ways with him that it would probably be the best for Joe Biden, but I don't think he can get away with it this election cycle, because the biggest problem people have with him is that they don't see that he's mentally sharp enough. And the only way that people are going to believe that he's mentally sharp enough is if they see him being mentally sharp enough. But I think Van Jones' point is that he's not going to be able to show up in the way that people need him to in order to overcome that barrier. And I think it's a really big barrier.
Well, when you don't know where to sit or where to walk on stage or who's in the room,
oh my God,
you think you took a picture with someone who's actually not there.
And dead.
Right.
Sometimes they're dead.
Sometimes they're dead. Yeah.
Todd? With regard to the Jonathan Stewart.
Jonathan
Stewart. Jon Stewart. Yeah, I use him by his proper name. Look, nobody likes him more than me. That's why I call him Jonathan. But The Daily Show is seen by like half the people that my show has at 5 a.m., right? I understand that'll probably go up when when John's doing the Mondays, but they're not as culturally relevant as they were 2016, 2012, when Jon Stewart was at the helm. So I mean, I understand that Hollywood and the cultural elite are going to pull out all the stops to defeat Trump. You see that with this move. But it's not going to work.
You're opening there. Way to make it about you.
I did.
Well,
You're welcome.
I just got to say, I think the reason that he's coming back is they haven't been able to find anyone else to make it culturally relevant. He's a comic genius in many ways, and I'm not sure that this is necessarily just about trying to get rid of Trump. We could make it about that, but actually maybe it's trying to make The Daily Show great again. Maybe it's about that.
Okay, but if they wanted to do that, wouldn't he have to come back full time and actually have people watch Comedy Central more than they have in the last 5 years?
I think he probably said no. I'm going to do Mondays, and that's enough for me.
Trevor Noah was anti-Trump, right?
And saw how well that went for him.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't work well at all.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at Van Jones' comment, he mentioned something about Biden's done well for the economy or something like that. Like, that's absolutely insane when wages have not kept up with inflation going back to when they, entered the White House. When you look at the amount of savings that people have adjusted for inflation, only the top 20% of income earners have any more in inflation-adjusted savings today than they did when they entered the White House. So, Van Jones, I think I would have to agree with some of his comments in that Biden does not inspire any confidence.
Yeah.
Now, does he need to stay in the basement? I think he needs to do something differently because he's got an approval rating in the low 30s. But I don't think he's going to be very effective at doing
Look at those prices since he took office. We'll just remind everyone again, almost 18% prices overall. That's the kind of hikes that you're seeing. 28% on gas prices. We've seen credit card debt go up 40%. He's got some serious problems when it comes to Bidenomics, and I think that's why they're telling him, stop saying that word, stop talking about it. But what this administration loves to do is gaslight. They're talking about freedom now. They're saying we're trying to preserve your freedom when they're the ones that have taken everybody's choice away.